Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. This is week one of the Be So Inspired Organize Along. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jennifer Long from Be So Inspired, and we are thrilled to have you here for this summer series, second annual Organize Along. So, the purpose of the Organize Along, it's like a sew along or quilt along where we get inspired by each other. We have the community aspect. We have things in like doable chunks of time. And of course, just like a sew along or a quilt along, if you fall behind or you want to go ahead, you are absolutely welcome to do either of those. But this is an organize along, and you can organize any of your creative spaces along with us. This is meant for even if you just have a cupboard or a couple of bins, all the way through to if you have your own studio space and everything in between. So today is week one. This is week one of the Be So Inspired second annual Organize Along. And this week is called Getting Untangled. So it's everything to do with threads. So if your sewing machine threads or your embroidery machine threads or your quilting machine threads or your hand sewing threads or your hand embroidery threads, even your yarn. So that's all about this week. Maybe you like to take your yarn and roll it into balls so that it doesn't get all twound up in itself when you're working with it. Just anything we can do to make the creative process, when we are in that creative process and we are completely in it and we don't have to be like struggling with our supplies and trying to find the right color and all the things. So this also helps us know we live quite far from the nearest local quilt shop, so it's a good 40-minute drive to my nearest quilt shop from here. So for me, it's really important to be organized, so I can't just go, oh, I've run out of this and I just need a little bit left. I need to have my supplies. So this way, if I'm organized, then the thought is that, next time I make the trip to my LQS, then I will be able to gather up all the supplies that I am getting low on or that I might need, especially these usable supplies like our threads. So let's get started. Today is all about threads. I'm going to start talking about hand embroidery thread, and there's lots of wonderful ways to use it, and depending on what kind you use. I was gifted and inherited all of this wonderful embroidery thread. This is DMC thread, and I was gifted it from my grandmother, who's no longer with us, but every time I sew, I am with her here. So she had it organized in a different way than I organized it. So she had it organized with a number chart in here, and so it was all by number. So if you wanted the number 102, you would just go at the beginning of the first bin and get 102. So that's a wonderful way of being organized, and it was super organized, especially if you're making a project and you're requiring that certain color. And I was really apprehensive to change it, except that that is not really how I create. And so I just felt like it was okay to still embrace and treasure all of these embroidery threads that she left to me, but to reorganize them. And believe me, it's taken probably a decade to do this. Not to organize them, but to get to the point where I felt okay to reorganize them, but to reorganize them in the way that best served my creative process. And so what I did was I like to rainbow ties because I don't always follow instructions or I don't always follow the rules, and I don't always follow the color chart. If I want to change the color, from red to blue, then I would have to look through all four of these, all with all the other different colors in them. And I found it kind of stressful and hard to work for the way my brain operates. And I think that is the key when we're organizing, isn't it? Finding out how you operate the best and then organizing so that it brings you the most efficiency and the most pleasure when you are crafting and creating. So I went ahead and took all of them out, which was really scary. And I began to color organize them. So I did this with my youngest daughter, who is 11 also. And anything that wasn't wrapped, well, we wrapped again so that we took it off of the like put them onto these papers, and then we got them even from dark to light. So it's not necessarily completely perfect, but it's very easy for me to see now which colors I have, which ones I'm lacking. So I know just from doing this that I am either I have white, but I'm very low, or I have no black at all. So I need to rectify this. This is a very dark brown, but now I know, I can easily see that I need to go get some maybe blacks and some charcoals. Otherwise, I feel like I'm pretty good. What do you think? So, yeah, that was a big job, but now I feel really relaxed about it. I feel super excited and enjoyable to start a hand sewing project. And I love hand sewing in the summer. I love doing cross stitch and embroidery projects in the summer, especially because we still have, my youngest is 9 and our oldest is 16, but I still like to go to the beach or take the youngest to swimming lessons. And I like to have something to do there, and embroidery is so relaxing. Actually, cross stitch is how I first learned to love threads. I think I learned it even when I was younger than my daughter. So probably even at 9 or 10, I learned to cross stitch. So this is so special to me. I know this will always be with me. And I'm sure that there will be some left over that I can hand down to my daughters as well from this. And maybe they'll reorganize it differently to how it suits them. So I should mention that the numbers are still on, and I did still. So my grandmother, I'll just give her a nod here, even though she's no longer with us. She had these printed numbers, so she had them all with the printed numbers. Isn't that awesome? So all of them still have their printed numbers, and if they didn't, I didn't have those printed numbers, but I still kept her tradition going, so I knew I could replace this exact one. And I don't know if you can see that now. I hand wrote the numbers on the ones that I wrapped myself. So that's one thing super special to me, and that's embroidery threads. The way I'm going to show you my other threads is I'm going to take you for a little tour of where things are in my sewing space. So I am fortunate enough to have a room dedicated to sewing, but that wasn't always the case, and it's taken me a long time to get here. And some of the tips and tricks that I want to share with you, they don't have to be in a dedicated room. So it's just a way to sort of tame some of the threads. So I love these enclosed compartment boxes because, the threads aren't hanging out and all of that. And it's also really easy to store. I just put it into a cupboard. So here we go. Let's go to my cutting table, the other side. Okay, so this is the front of my cutting table. It's actually 2 dressers that used to be my sister's, actually, and I have one in the front and one in the back. And I put them together, and that's a nice large cutting table that I just really love. So I love it because it makes use of all the space underneath, and I have drawers and everything in here. And so this side I have my threads because I have my long arm machine over there, my embroidery machine on this side of me, and my sewing machine on this side. So it sort of seems like it's the right flow for me to have my threads on this side, not opposed to the other side of the cutting table. So I just want to talk through with you here, and I'll just show you. And I'll just say that I did not prep the drawers before, and so everything is not perfect, and we're going to organize along together. So we'll just be completely transparent, and we'll work together and inspire each other. Okay, so here you are at the front of my cupboard, and I know you can see there's some threads hanging out, and this does happen when you don't do what I'm about to show you that we should be doing. So that's just pure transparency. So I have the ones that I've just most commonly used up here, my threads. I also have my bobbins in here, and I have lots of other things in here, so projects that I'm working on as well. So these are not organized because they are being used like quick access all the time. How does that sound? Oh, we'll just push that in there. Okay, this is getting a little more organized. So anything that doesn't have a clip in the bottom, I use these wonderful nets for my embroidery thread. Even though sometimes they do have a clip, these ones have a clip at the bottom, so you can pop pop them, so both of the ways are faster, but like I showed you, if all of your threads are not under control, then you aren't able to see what you have even here. So these are basically just, I have some over here in a bag. So these are a handy thread piece. I have 100 of them. They come double long, and I've cut them so they come this long, which is far, far too long for these spools. So I've cut them in half, and so I actually have 200. And then you can just throw them on top of your threads, and they tame your threads for you. So I really like them, and I'm not sure if you're curious, but it's always fun to see in people's drawers. So I'll just show you what's inside my drawers here. So this top one, again, has the stuff I'm using the most. The colors that I'm using the most in here, and the bobbins, I have black and white in here for embroidery. And then this is my colors. So over on this side was my more neutral colors, and this side is all the different sort of still kind of rainbow ties. It's in here. There's small ones, big ones, they're wrapped, but there's not threads happening everywhere. So I feel like this is organized. And this is my quilting threads down here. So same thing again. It's got some color to it as well here, so I can sort of see if there's variegated threads or my neutral threads over here if I want to quilt with this is for my long arm machine. Okay, and so since we're being completely honest, and that's what the Organize Along is about, is just about sharing and inspiring. This is an old cabinet that we actually built into one of our house, not this house that we're in now, but a house that we were in, my husband and I, when we were newly married. And it was oak, and it was getting really chipped, and it had some holes in it. And anyways, the other owners didn't want it, and we had it in storage for a little bit. Anyways, painted it, gave it some new life, and I'm really happy with it. Over here, I can display some of the quilts that I love here. But then I also have in these cupboards, this bottom cupboard is my yarn. So I'm going to share it with you and show you what's in there today. Okay, so I don't use yarn that as often as I would like, but I do have it kind of organized and rainbow ties. So I do have it so I can find if I know what I'm looking for. I often use it for doll hair, but I do love crocheting. And I did knit a lot of baby hats when my kids were little. So it's pretty deep, and it's full of colors. I do like to have them. My grandma taught me to roll them in balls. I used to help her with that. So I don't have that done to all of them, but I do have that done to a lot of them. And I do sometimes, if I have a couple of balls in the same, I put them in a Ziploc bag here. So it's not the most organized. I could have it in bins so I could slide it out. But with this support in the middle, I would lose that space in the middle. So I just haven't done it that way. But open to your suggestions, obviously, too. But there's my yarn. So that is week one. Shared my soul. I felt like I was opening up to, sharing your space is kind of vulnerable. So please be kind and with your comments and all the things. But I hope it does inspire you. And I would love to hear, our whole community would love to hear your ways that you are organizing your threads. There's wonderful display racks to use them, and all kinds of different ways. So we'd love to hear how you are organizing all of those things: threads, embroidery threads, yarns, and big, small, all the things. Make sure you share using the hashtag Organize Along, and that's organize with a Z, because we're in North America, but I will find you both ways. And make sure you also tag me directly at Be So Inspired. And if you do that tag, then it will actually show up on the tag on the Be So Inspired feed. I'll be able to find you, and I can repost it really easy too. So I'd encourage you to do that if you're posting on social media. Also, please feel free to share within the Facebook group, Be So Inspired group. It's called Dolls and Quilts, and we love to see how you're organizing your space, no matter what size. And also make sure you watch the videos on the YouTube, like and subscribe to our channel. So thank you so much for being here. Hope you're enjoying your July, and can't wait for next week. So let's see what happens this week. First of all, let's organize and get untangled. See you next week.
Hello, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Jennifer Long from Be So Inspired, and it means so much to me that you are here. Thank you so much for commenting, for joining us every week, and for all the hashtags that you're using, Be So Inspired, all the pattern hashtags, and for always tagging at Be So Inspired. It does mean so much. I'd like to give you a little call to action. So if you're enjoying these and you want to try out a Be So Inspired pattern, all you need to do is come over to the Be So Inspired website, besoinspired.com, and sign up for our free weekly newsletter. And as a gift, I will send you a coupon for your first time in the shop so that you can have a coupon and try out our patterns. If you already know that you love Be So Inspired patterns, be it doll patterns, quilt patterns, do-it-yourself crafts, any of those, we'd invite you to come and join any of our memberships. So we have a dolls, quilts, do-it-yourself crafts, or all the things, and we'll inspire you, we'll teach you, we'll lift you up, and we'll have lots of fun with community and patterns together and lots of creativity. So I hope you can join us over there. Come on over to the site, and I can't wait to get to know you even more, and thank you for being here. Bye for now.